Why don't I rotate my phone? I'm going live just like this. Welcome back to the Y.E.S Longevity Podcast, where we give you insight on how to get fit, feel younger, and live better. I am Chris Borda, owner of Y.E.S Fitness. I'm not quite sure. It looks like we're a little dark here today because I'm trying something new. And I don't know, just looks a little dark. But we're going to go with it for now. Can't mess around too much. Let's get right into it. Again, I'm Chris Borda, owner of Y.E.S Fitness, and thank you for taking the time to listen to me today. It is a gorgeous day out there today. We are having a fantastic week of weather here in Burlington, Connecticut, and I appreciate you taking some time to listen to me. So I hope I don't waste your time and I give you some real good, solid information. So today is a big day. We are super excited because we're finally going to be able to open tomorrow. After 3 months of trying to work people out at home, trying to get it done through remote coaching and things like that, we are going to be up and running back to normal. And although people made great efforts to maintain your level of fitness at home, it just isn't the same. And they realize it's just not the same working out at home as it is working out in the coaching center. You just don't get as good a workout unless you have someone there coaching you. And we did the best we could with some Zoom calls, coaching through Zoom online and with our Bridge app, doing private training at home, but it's just not the same. And people need to be careful coming back to the gym. So this is what we're talking about here. While it's exciting to get back into the gym or back into the coaching center, and all that excitement is super high right now, it's important to note that we can't jump back into it the way we were training prior to COVID-19, before the shutdown. That initial week, you just can't be training that way. Even in the first few weeks, for that matter, you have to make some adjustments. This is especially for the case of a person who hasn't been doing much at home at all, or someone who's just been doing bodyweight exercise at home. You need to be careful getting back into the coaching center. This is why staying consistent while we're at home was so important for those people who were able to do it. And I understand it's difficult, and if you weren't able to do it, that's okay. That's all right. It's just going to take you a little bit more longer for your body to transition back into the coaching center than that person that was able to do some working out at home. The overstimulus that resistance training and metabolic training provides can create quite a disruption in your body. And if you jump right back into it, you're going to be asking for trouble. So let's train smart here, okay? Let's ensure that your body is safe. Let's make sure the program is safe. Let's sure you get back into the facility safe, and that you progress along nicely and you start to get some results and start working back towards your goal. So when we step back into the gym, it's going to feel kind of awkward. It's going to feel like we've lost some progress, right? The weights that we could used to move easily, we're not going to be able to move easily anymore. They're going to feel heavy, and they're going to be harder to work with than they were before. And this is totally okay. It's natural. It's a natural progression of being exposed to different types of training that you haven't had done for a little while now, for about 3 months, right? So we need to understand that although maybe at home, we may have been doing a goblet squat with a dumbbell, now we may be doing a front-loaded squat with a sandbag or with a kettlebell, and that's just going to be different. It's going to be different if we're doing some kind of back squat or offset squat. So you need to be ready for this, and we need to think about, we're moving from home and we're moving into the coaching center, and we need to think about progressing into this new phase correctly. We need to think about progressing here, and then the approach we need to have, the mindset we need to have, is that of a beginner. Yes, is of a beginner, which is kind of scary because when we get back into the gym, we're going to hit some new stimuluses, right? And the problem is we're not going to think that we're beginners. And we're not going to start to move and think and move like we're beginners, but we really are beginners again, even if you've been doing some working out at home. So this discrepancy of what we did at home or didn't do at home and now coming back into the facility can really set us up for injury. So we need to make sure that we have a beginner's mindset, okay? And you're going to think like, hey, you know what? I've done this before. I can do it again. This is how it works, right? It's not exactly like this. You're going to be sore from a small amount of work. You're going to be really surprised at how sore you're going to be from a small amount of work, even if you've been working out at home some, okay? Because the stimulus is going to be different. And although soreness isn't a whole lot of fun, a little bit of soreness is okay, right? But the soreness isn't the biggest problem you need to worry about. The biggest problem you need to worry about is injury. So when we get back into the facility, we can't just flip the switch and go 100%. It's highly unlikely you'll be able to recover from that type of training unless we've made some changes. And we're going to go through some changes on what you need to do. I'm going to give you 5 tips about coming back into the coaching center, working out, okay? The work intensity, the workload, the volume is likely going to be much bigger than you were doing at home. Even if you were following along with us and doing our programs at home, again, the equipment is going to be different and you're going to have a coach watching you. So it does make a difference. So we got to keep this in mind that we're not training for this week or this workout. Yes, train in that moment, but we're really training for the long haul, right? We're getting back into this to get back into our lifestyle that we know and we want to have. So let's think about being in that lifestyle, not so much focused on that particular workout in that week that we need to get it all done in one point in time, because that is not going to happen. So what's happened to you over the last 3 months? You've deconditioned. Your body is bioplastic. What that means is it responds to whatever stimulus you put on it. So if we exercise, typically the body will get fitter and it'll get stronger. We'll get more mentally and physically improved, right? But when we stop and we're not as active, our physical conditioning declines. Yes, this is known as deconditioning. And deconditioning can happen quickly, probably quicker than you know. Some studies show that there's a significant decline in muscle mass, physical function, strength, aerobic capacity, metabolic function in as little as 10 days of inactivity. And we just spent 3 months, some of us, being inactive. So very, very important. And when we're inactive, our body adapts to the lack of exercise. And if we start restarting too quickly or too much, too fast, we are going to have the risk of injury. So this is really important. This is someone talking to you, because if we injure ourselves, it's not good, right? We're not getting to the gym then. We're not getting to the coaching center if we're injuring ourselves. We need to be very careful with this stuff. So what are some of the risks? Well, while deconditioning can be rapid, reconditioning the body will be much slower. I'm sorry to tell you that. We can decondition real quick, but bringing it back is going to be slower. And upon returning to the coaching center, we might feel like our muscles are a little bit tighter. We're breathing a little bit heavier than we used to breathe before. We may also feel some stiffness in all our joints. And we're probably going to reach a threshold of pain or discomfort or fatigue faster than what we did before, pre-COVID-19, right? Before the shutdown. But these are all normal signs that should improve over a few workouts and over a few weeks. But engaging in high intensity movements or increasing loads too quickly, again, will increase your risk for injury. So people might assume that they can jump back into their pre-pandemic exercise without considering a reduced capacity on the body. But research, we always like to talk about research here, because that's what we base all of our programs on, is solid research. Research has found that novice exercisers and those with lower activity levels before starting gym-based exercises are more likely to experience injury when they return to the gym than that person who has been exercising or been active. And the most common problems that have been reported are back pain, knee pain, and shoulder pain. So we need to be aware of this. So let's be checking ourselves during our workout, right after our workout, the next day after our workout. Kind of have a thinking out back of our minds. How are we feeling? Are the knees feeling okay? Is the back feeling all right? Is the shoulder feeling all right? Maybe you had a little bit of more discomfort than you thought you should have. Maybe we should back that off a little bit. We need to think about where we're at when we're done with our workout. Not just that day, but the day after, maybe 2 days after. Maybe we're feeling great, and we know the next time we come into the coaching center, we can push it up a little bit. That's what we need to do. Hey, professional athletes do this all the time. They assess their level of readiness every single day with more parameters than we do. They look at sleep, nutrition, heart rate variability, all kinds of stuff. So if it's good for them, it certainly is good for us. So let's assess where we're at. So some things that we need to think about before we come back to the coaching center, right? What are we doing right now? What have we been doing at home? What weights have we had access to? How many days a week have we been training? Actually, what have we been doing for the last 3 months? We got to think about that. So when we're coming in and we're trying to plan how often we're going to come into the facility, right? How often are we going to coach? Maybe you are working out with just body weight exercises for the last 2 or 3 days a week for the last 3 months. You absolutely should not come back into the coaching center or any type of gym and jump back into 4, 5, 6 days a week working full equipment, using a lot of heavy weights and things like that. You will hurt yourself and you're not going to get in shape any faster. You need to gradually get back into your days. And this goes with whether you're running or whether you're doing some strength training. Start the weights off a little bit lighter, run a little bit slower, right? Let's start off the first week or two with just 2, maybe 3 days a week. Let's see how we feel. If we're feeling great, we can just tentatively have a plan where we're going to increase the volume of training. So when we get into the facility, we're going to increase the weights, try to do more repetitions, try to do a little bit more than we did the last time. Or maybe we can think about trying to add a day. Rather than working harder when we're at the facility, we can add a day. So let's not like add increased weights and add days and shorten our rest and not do any recovery, because it's not going to be fun and you're not going to get shape any faster and you're likely going to hurt yourselves. So let's just make this a seamless transition back into the coaching center. Some other things to think about as we're getting started up here again, right? How is your recovery? How's your recovery been up to this point? Are you incorporating some regeneration days? Are you incorporating some recovery into this program, right? Before, if we're just working out a couple of days a week, I'm sure we're getting plenty of recovery, but now we're going to get back into the coaching center. We're going to take a look at 3 days and then into 4 days and into 5 days. Some of those days need to be recovery. You cannot and should not try to go hard every single day. Your body will not adapt better. Your body will not get fitter faster. You need to incorporate some regeneration. And how's your nutrition now? And what changes do we need to make now that maybe we're getting into the coaching center more? Do I need to increase my hydration? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I getting enough nutrients? Am I getting my post-workout nutrition in? All things that we need to start thinking about again, because we want to be able to dial this stuff up as we dial up are the intensity and the load in the transition back into the coaching center. So think about your nutrition. Nutrition, as we know, and sleep and recovery are all part of the whole program. It's not just coming in and picking up weights and putting them down. This is all part of the program, right? Hey, let's check our stress level too. Hopefully getting back into the coaching center, it helps reduce some stress, because this has been a stressful 3 months. And possibly, I think it's been great. I've seen a ton of people out walking now. You know, it's just been too bad that it took a pandemic for people to actually get outside and start moving again. I hope and pray that all these people that have been out here walking continue through this on past the reopening of facilities and just continue this the rest of their lives. I'm sure that they feel better. I know they feel better because they've been moving. I know what it feels like to move. I know how easy it is to just sit on the couch and do nothing. But I'm hoping that you can dig deep into your bodies and your mind and have that mindset that I'm going to feel better when I'm working out. And I was just talking to my neighbor yesterday, or over the weekend, I should say, and I see her out jogging in the mornings now. And she's doing a fantastic job. She's watching what she's eating. She's lost a lot of fat, she's lost some muscle because she's not doing any strength training, but she's doing a great job. She is running, right? And what did she tell me? She goes, I can't believe how good I feel every single day. I can't believe how good I feel when I am done working out, when I'm done with my run. It sets her up for the whole day. And I'm sure these are the same feeling everybody else has been having getting out and walking. So continue that. If you've been doing that, please continue that, right? Let's think about one last thing here before we get into some of the 5 tips I'm going to give you. What are your goals now? Your goals may have changed, right? You may need to set up some short-term goals that are going to support our long-term goals. So having goals during this time is very important. It's always good to have goals. It gives you some direction. It gives you some purpose to your training. It helps your coach develop your plan for you. So let's have some kind of goal in place, right? Let's not just get back into some gym somewhere and jump on every single piece of equipment because we haven't done inner thigh and outer thigh in a while, and we haven't been on the elliptical for an hour in a long time. That is not what you need to do. You need to think about what your goals are. And maybe your goals are no longer just fat loss. You know, with all this increased awareness of how exercise is so important for disease prevention, right? And for our health, that maybe we could have changed our goals some a little bit. We can still have some of that fat loss goal and all that other stuff, but maybe, our health and how long we live and how well we live is going to become more important to us than just being able to have lost 5 pounds and put those 5 and 10 pounds back on again, on and off and on and off and on and off. So at the end of the day, we need to stop comparing our pre-COVID-19 gym experience to what we returned to back at the coaching center, right? At least for the first few weeks. It's not going to look the same. It's going to be a little bit different in the sense of how hard you work and how you feel. The workouts in our facility are going to be pretty much the same type of workouts, but let's just strive to embrace this new normal a little bit. And I hate that frame, new normal, but we need to embrace this a little bit so we can get back to getting fit without getting injured, okay? When we exercise less, our physical condition declines. And again, it may increase the risk for injury. So how can we return to the coaching center safely? So I've got 5 tips for returning back to the coaching center safely and effectively so we can get back on track, getting you to where you want to be, getting the results that you're looking for. So tip number 1 is, okay, and I've talked about some of these tips, so we're going through it here a little bit. Tip number 1 is don't expect to have the same level of fitness you did before, okay? When we when we step back into the gym, it'll feel as like we've lost that progress. We know that's okay. All right, and the problem is we're going to feel like we're not beginners, although we need to have the mindset that we are beginners. Unfortunately, regardless of whether you're a runner, a weightlifter, or a weekend warrior, taking time off from exercise means that you will lose some of your abilities. But it doesn't mean that you'll never regain these abilities again and that you'll be able to surpass them. It just means we may have to start a little bit slower. We have to lift a bit lower weights. We have to run a little bit less, but that is completely normal. I just keep repeating this over and over because I don't want you to get injured. The good news here is that strength training, you'll regain your strength quicker than it took for you to get that strength gain initially in your program. And that's obviously because of muscle memory. So you'll be able to jump back in and you'll find your gains will come back pretty quick because of muscle memory, okay? So when you come back into the facility, in the coaching center, let's think about taking about 50% down from your 1RM, okay? So if you were losing, excuse me, if you were pressing a 50-pound sandbag up over your head, right? Let's start off with 25 when you come back into the facility. Let's cut it in half here a little bit, all right? And let's gradually build up from week to week. If you're feeling great after your workout, let's take that inventory. If you're feeling great, next time we come in, increase our reps, increase our weights if we can, maybe increase the amount of sets. We want to try to focus on some higher repetition work in the first few weeks to train, okay? This will help build our endurance. This will help build our stabilizers, okay? It'll help work on our capacity. It'll help work on our energy systems. It'll help work on some fat loss. And this is where we kind of need to be at, okay? In the beginning, we need to really just get the body prepared to progress along. So we're going to be some high repetitions when you first come into the facility. But approximately 4 or 5 weeks down the road, you're going to start to find yourself that you're back to your pre-COVID-19 type of training. You're going to have most of your strength back. I think you'll find that, okay? Number 2, let's be patient, okay? I understand that it can be very difficult knowing that you're not lifting as heavy a weight or running as fast or as long as you did before, but we have to be patient. I have the same problem sometimes. If I miss some training here, I need to be patient. I know what it's like. It's frustrating. You think you've worked all this time and now all of a sudden everything is gone. Work with what you have. Work with the strength that you have right now. Work with the energy you have right now. Trust the process. Just be consistent. Know that if you continue to work out consistently, that you're going to get back to where you were and then some. You're going to make some gains. So number 2, be patient. Number 3, don't do too much. Okay, don't try to do all the exercise all at once. Don't go into the gym and just try every single machine, okay? Ease yourself back into it. If you're coming back into the coaching center, we're going to make those adjustments for you, okay? We're going to give you the program that's going to fit you the best to get you where you want to be with the least amount of risk for injury, okay? And then we can just gradually get back to our normal routines, how we used to coach before. So that's number 3. Don't do too much. Number 4 is, remember, you'll probably be sore. So contrary to popular belief, and I talk about this often, feeling sore is not an indicator of whether or not you've had a good workout. Okay? If I tell people, if you want to be sore, I'm going to hit you in the thigh with a 2x4. Then you'll be sore. Okay? Does that make any kind of sense? When you're sore, that's your body kind of telling you may have been done a little bit too much. So if you're feeling sore, it's probably just because we did some new exercises or the intensity was a little bit too much. Okay? That's okay if it's a little soreness. If you have some soreness the next day, 2 days later is even better. But if you're sore 3 or 4 days, if you're going home and you worked out in the morning and at night you're sore, you're tired, we work too hard. So we just really need to dial it back. Take that inventory where we're at and we'll progress from there. You guys know when you come into the coaching center, coaches always ask you, how you feeling? How'd you feel after your workout? Do you have anything happen over the weekend? Anything I need to know about? So we're ready to prepare you for the right level of exercise that you need. But the good news is, as always, soreness doesn't last forever. And as long as we're doing our proper recovery, we're doing our foam rolling, we're taking out the massager, we're getting enough sleep, we're drinking enough water, our nutrition is spot on, that recovery will come faster and the soreness will not last as long. And finally, those people who work out here don't need this, but now more than ever might be the time that you need to get a coach or an instructor, okay? More than ever, it's important to work with a fitness coach now. With this heightened interest of health benefits on exercise associated with disease and illness, prevention, your goals may have shifted. And to work out to lose fat is different to work out to improve your health. Always remember, whatever your goal is, okay, that's what your program should be built on. I have a real good example. When I was talking to my neighbor the other day, we were talking about workouts, and she's getting up and she's jogging 3 miles, and she can jog a full 3 miles now without stopping, and that's fantastic. She's working her aerobic energy system. I told her that my workout is I only ran 5 40-yard dashes with a full recovery in between. I'm working an anaerobic energy system. People know that I'm going to try to run in the master games. I'm going to try to run and compete in a 50 and 100 meter sprint. My workout needs to look different than her workout. Okay? Her workout, she's working for her health. She's trying to lose some fat. She's trying to get more fit. She's trying to improve aerobic capacity. I'm trying to improve different energy systems. So the workout really needs to be designed based upon what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're trying to accomplish improved health, if you're trying to accomplish longevity, if you're trying to live longer and live better those extra years, it's going to be different than what I'm doing to try to compete in a race. So it's really important that the coach understands that, and whoever you're working with, that qualified coach, can make those changes in your program. And that program should not just be a workout unit. It should just walk in and do some kind of arm workout. That should be a program that should be designed like we designed. We designed for a full year. I know exactly what somebody's going to do 1 year from now, because we do programs, we don't just design workouts. So that's where you have it. Those are our 5 tips, okay, to get you back into working out, back into the coaching center safely with effectiveness. Number 1, we're not going to expect to have the same level of fitness we had before the COVID-19 shutdown. Number 2, we're going to be patient. Number 3, we're going to try not to do too much. Number 4, we're going to remember that we're going to be sore, but we need to be prepared for that. And we need to have that recovery systems in place. And number 5, get yourself a coach if you don't have a coach, because it's important for your gains. So I'd like to just let you know that we have a limited number of spots for people to join our 30-day Jumpstart program. So if you haven't been working out in a long time, or you were working out and that 3 months just crushed it for you, or you really been doing too much at home, we have a special 30-day Jumpstart program ready to go. We're going to alter some of the things that we do to get people getting back into shape, getting back moving again. So if you're interested in that, there'll be a link below this podcast. Just click on that link, and we'd be more than happy to help you out. That's what we do. We help people. So that's it for today. Again, thank you for taking the time to watch, and look for me next Tuesday at 3:30 to give you more insight on how to get fit, feel younger, and live better. And if you're going to the gym tomorrow, if you're come to the coaching center, enjoy yourself. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Have a great night.